Crowd. This is Ron Lachine. That was.
The 26-year-old Honda rider from Berkshire is the 1989 World 500cc Motocross Champion.
Rick Johnson took the checkered flag and the 500cc crown. A few minutes later, he had this to say.
Thank God it's over.
Welcome, Motocross History Team. Today I want to talk about a birthday, a significant birthday. That would be Jeff Stanton. And selfishly, for me, it's pretty significant. Jeff Stanton is pretty significant, not his birthday. But Jeff Stanton, when I was a teenager, young teen, I remember getting in like the exact time of year that I got into motocross, and it was January of 1989. I remember getting really into the Supercross season that had just begun. And if you guys can remember, that was when Rick Johnson was on top of the motocross world. He was on a massive tear. He would go on to rip off like 5 straight Supercross wins, the first 5 events of the season. And as I followed, of course, events would unfold, and his teammate, this quiet teammate of his, who I really knew nothing about, was number 7, Jeff Stanton. And all I remember is he would always stay within pretty close range of Ricky Johnson throughout each Supercross event, but he wouldn't be able to beat him until Atlanta, when, while in the lead, RJ makes a bobble mistake, goes down real quick, gets back up, but it was enough time for Jeff Stanton to pass him, and Jeff Stanton goes on to win his first Supercross of the season. And then, of course, Ricky Johnson goes through the whole wrist situation, ends up breaking his wrist, out for the '89 season. Jeff Stanton, who was closest to him in points, and who would be aside from Jeff Stanton, the main competition, which would have been Jeff Ward. Jeff Ward was also out at the beginning of the 1989 Supercross season. So, out of nowhere, Jeff Stanton, for a kid like me, kind of goes from being a virtual unknown to all of a sudden being in the Supercross point standings lead, and really nobody close to him that could really challenge him. Jeff Stanton had a much different style. He wasn't flashy during a time where the Supercross fans really kind of started to really like that flashy style. And Rick Johnson and Ronnie Lachine were the very definition of that. Jeff Ward was not flashy. He was all about business. And Jeff Stanton was kind of very similar in that sense. Now, Jeff Stanton was a much different rider than Jeff Ward, even though they had a real similar mindset. Jeff Stanton was tall. I think he was like 6'1". He hovered right around like 180 pounds. And that was the first time when pundits would describe his riding style, that was the first time I heard of that bulldog style. But one thing I will say about Jeff Stanton, and I'm sure that his Team Honda managers would say, is he was very reliable. Very reliable. He was very consistent, and consistency for him, and especially during those times, won you titles. So Jeff Stanton earned the nickname 6-time, and because he won 6 titles. Now, the one title that always eluded Jeff Stanton was the 500 National Championship. Before Jeff Stanton went to Team Honda, if he was known for anything, it was he probably looked better than anyone else had since Brock Glover on a YZ490. Jeff Stanton for 86, 87, and 88 was a Team Yamaha rider. He was a support rider, then slowly moved up to being a team rider. And he really liked the 500 class, according to interviews that he had. And Yamaha only had the YZ490. But Jeff Stanton made things work. And in 87 and 88, even though it was a distant second, Jeff Stanton, through his consistency, managed to finish the 500 National Championship Series in both 87 and 88 in second place behind Rick Johnson, ahead of Jeff Ward, ahead of Ron Lachine, ahead of Doug Dubach, and so on. I think where it paid off for him the most was in 1992, where everybody expected Damon Bradshaw to win the 250 Supercross title. Now, just talking about this like drives like a dagger into my heart, because I love Damon Bradshaw. He was only a year older than me, and I was just smitten with the fact that a kid that was pretty much my age was out there winning Supercrosses, winning motocross races, just doing what I always dreamed about doing, and at my age. And so in 1982, I expected Damon Bradshaw to run away with it, and I think he won 9 or 10 of the 17 races, maybe even more, in that 92 Supercross series. And in spite of all the crashes, in spite of his inconsistency, everybody thought that, well, shoot, he won like all these events, he's gonna wrap it up. Well, Jeff Stanton, through his consistency, was able to, in the last race, for those of you that remember this time frame, remember that in the last race at the LA Coliseum, Jeff Stanton, going in, I think he was 4 or 5 points down, ended up being consistent and ended up winning the title in the last race. That consistency paid off for him, won him 6 titles. However, that 500 title eluded him. When all was said and done, Jeff Stanton also got second place in the 500 National Championship Series 6 times. So I think he was dubbed 6-time because the championship that he wanted the most was that 500 title, and he never got it. He got second place 6 times, but he never won it. So I think it's more of a thing that guys like to dig at him by calling him 6-time. Anyway, that's one of those things that we'll never get to the bottom of. You guys throw it in your comments. Let me know what you think about that 6-time comment. And overall, let me know what your greatest memory is of Jeff Stanton. Jeff Stanton was right in the middle of that golden era of motocross. We all know it was the best era of motocross. So let me know what your best memories of Jeff Stanton were. As for me, my favorite memory of him riding was the 1990 Unadilla 250 USGP. And there are a couple of copies of it on YouTube, but by far the best copy of the 250 USGP that's on YouTube is the one taken by the Dutch. And that video I'm going to show in here, and it was the angles, it was where their cameras were positioned. He just looks like he is just on another level. He looks so freaking fast on that CR250 against those Works bikes. It was unbelievable. So I'll show certain clips from that. I'll show you some photos that I really enjoyed of him. Some really good photos that were taken, and we'll do also add in a quick expose that Motor World did on Jeff Stanton after they recovered the 1990 Unadilla 250 USGP. And if you have a 2-stroke 250, preferably a 500, get that thing out there to the track this weekend. Let that younger generation hear it. Let them hear that heartbeat as it idles. Smell that good smell of 2-stroke oil, gas mixed, and have fun. See you on the next one.
Pro motocrosser Jeff Stanton has accomplished more than most pro racers accomplish in a lifetime. To learn his secret, we visited his home in Sherwood, Michigan. Now, it's a far cry from the stereotype factory stars dwelling that you've seen in past issues of Motor World, but Jeff wouldn't have it any other way.
I don't have too many people to bug yet. Relaxing, quiet, listen to the birds chirp and the deer walk through the backyard, picking the grass. So I wouldn't change this lifestyle for anything. I wouldn't live in the city to save my butt.
Jeff's home is built on the edge of the farm that has been in the family over 100 years. According to Jeff, 100 years from now, it will still bear the Stanton family name. That's one of Jeff's goals, and when Jeff sets a goal, it usually gets done.
I still write my goals down on paper and put them where I can see them every day. And it's important because you have those goals and you need to know what those goals are. And you see that piece of paper laying in front of you, and you put them above your bed, and you see them there every time you wake up in the morning, or you put them over the stove while you're sitting there fixing your lunch, and you see them. And it's important. You see that, and you go, that's right, I gotta work hard for that. You gotta go out and achieve that goal.
Number one on Jeff's list of goals is becoming the winningest rider in the history of the sport and eclipsing all of Bob Hanna's records, including 3 Supercross titles in a row.
Well, I'm getting there. I haven't won as many races as he has or as many championships, but I'm well on my way. I feel confident that I can put myself up there in his position. I just turned 22, just getting ready and getting into my prime, so I feel like I'm it.
There's an old song that says, how you gonna keep them down on the farm after they've seen Paris? Well, Jeff Stanton has seen Paris. He has no intention of leaving the farm. On the Stanton homestead, they build character and champions. Besides, there's a lot more to do on the farm than in Paris.
You know, I do a majority of things. I like to play basketball with all my friends and go out and go hunting, you know, do a little bit of fishing, water skiing, jet skiing, shooting little trout. You know, just a majority of things. I like to go out and, you know, do some training. You know, so that's fun for me. Go out and go rollerblading or running or bicycling. And, spend time with my family is probably the biggest thing that's the most relaxing for me.